I've been talking about hard Christmases and really just how difficult Christmas can be when you're going through difficult times, whether it's the loss of a loved one, whether it's just being down, being depressed, whether it's you lost a job, whatever it is. And so I've told some stories about my hard Christmases. I talked about 1968, day before yesterday, and when my brother was serving in the military and gone for Christmas overseas in the war. I talked about 1969, the first year I had a seizure. I think maybe one of the hardest Christmases for me was 1970, I guess it would have been 1976. I'd been married. I got married when I was 19 years old. It was an exciting time. I've fallen in love 3 times in my life. Twice, love at first sight. I married a woman who I didn't fall in love with at love at first sight, but instead it was kind of a transcendent experience over a matter of weeks. And within weeks of meeting her, sitting in a car, I asked her to marry me. We got married the following January. We both took a semester off of school. I got a job in a bank. I don't remember what kind of job she got. I assume in a bank also as well, right then off the top. It was October and November, before the winter we were going to get married. And I was sitting in the bank and I had a massive seizure. Right while a customer was in front of me, I was sitting in a stool in the teller's window. I'd only had my license for a year, just a little more than a year. And just like that, my license was going to be gone for the next 2 years if I could not have any more seizures, which didn't happen. I had more seizures. And now I was entering into this marriage with a woman who had no idea what a seizure was like, much less that she was marrying a man who wouldn't have a driver's license, which is a challenge. Had to ride the bus places. I walked everywhere I went. I rode my bike to college. It was hard. And then she left me in 1976. I don't think it was because of my driver's license. Ironically enough, not long after she left, I got my driver's license back. But that Christmas, I remember going into it. We were still married. We just weren't living together. And I was devastated still. I was dating Debbie. I'd seen Debbie and fallen in love with her at first sight, and I thought my heart could never be awake to love again. It was months and months after my wife had left me. But Debbie had gone back to Ohio to be with her family. And now here I was alone. The Christmas before I'd had a family. And now this Christmas I didn't. The Christmas before I'd had an apartment with my wife. Now this Christmas I was living in the same apartment with no furniture. And I really thought to myself, life couldn't get much more challenging than this moment. I said that in 1968. Said that to myself in 1969. Now here I am in 1976, saying it to myself again. You know, it's easy for us to say, oh man, you add that up, man, your life sucks. Or to say, you know, life's got some real hard times if you only look at the bad things. But in between that decade, from 1968 to 1976, Christmas alone in my little apartment on Nieto Avenue in Belmont Shore, just 8 short years, lots of good times happened. Lots of good things that I haven't covered. And so much fun and so many good friends and so much love shared. And so I tried my best to come into that Christmas and to focus on the positive and to focus on the love in the middle of the heartbreak that I knew was just crushing part of me inside. I don't know how you're coming to this Christmas. Maybe this is your best Christmas ever. But maybe it's not so great. And this Christmas, if you're in the midst of grief, this Christmas, if you're in the midst of a loved one lost, this Christmas, if you're in the midst of letting go, this Christmas, whatever your scenario is, why not look at all of the other days in between, not 1968, not 1969, and not 1976, but all of those other days in between. And don't try to disenfranchise yourself from the heartbreak you're going through today, because if we do that, we segment off something that we need to walk through. And it's important that we learn to walk through this path of pain. But as we come to Christmas, it's also important that we learn to celebrate the moments that are right before us. And each one of us have friends to celebrate these moments with. Yesterday afternoon, I was with a friend who's 99 years old. She's getting ready to celebrate her 100th Christmas. Imagine that, 100 Christmases. I looked at her and I said, Bernie, I'm just curious. What was your favorite Christmas? What's your favorite Christmas memory across 100 Christmases? Her eyes brightened. She sat up for a minute and she said, I know exactly which one it is. And she went back to 1927, nearly 100 years ago, when she was a little girl, and her mother, who I knew her mother also, when her mother had taken her and her siblings, and they'd gone to downtown Los Angeles, not to shop, but just to walk along and look at the windows filled with the beautiful Christmas decorations and Christmas displays. I remember when Dad used to take us down Christmas Tree Lane in Long Beach, just to look at the lights. Hopefully you're doing that this year as well. And she said, a woman, a total stranger, came up to them and said, where's your mother? They said, oh, she's inside the store looking. And the woman waited with them till her mother came out. She asked the names of the children. She got their address, and then she went out and she bought Christmas presents for all of them and made sure they were delivered for Christmas. Bernie said she got the most beautiful doll with a little squeaker inside. It said her brothers pulled the squeaker out. I thought about the gift that we have to bring this Christmas. If you're in the midst of heartbreak, if you're in the midst of a hurting time, if it feels like it's 99 difficult Christmases, beyond difficult, Christmases filled with pain, why not look to those days which delivered you? I wouldn't go back to 1968, 1969, or 1976 for anything. They were hard. I didn't think I would survive them, but I did. And because of that, here I am in 2019, getting ready to wrap up another decade of Christmases and to step into 2020. You can too. There's more ahead of you than you begin to imagine, if only you'll look and live forward and trust that good things are on the horizon when we trust in God. Hey, it's how we step away from being mediocre. It's how we step away from having a life of mediocrity. It's how we step in to believing that hope is just over the hilltop if we only keep climbing. It's how we live a miraculous life. And I don't know about you, but I want to be the miracle. Let's go. Let's be the miracle together. Let's enjoy today. Let's celebrate these holy days together. Merry Christmas.